everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Relay Bitcoin podcast. Today I am joined by Sheinfeld. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Sheinfeld?
Sheinfeld, it's like to American, I say it's like Seinfeld with an H. So
Right. Because you are not American, right? You are
mm,
born and raised and based in Israel.
that's correct. I'm based
Nice.
in Tel Aviv. Yeah.
Tel Aviv. So Israel is really a startup hub, right? I didn't know this until like 1 or 2 years ago when I got into startups and stuff. So, like, besides Silicon Valley, maybe Singapore, like Silicon Valley in the US, Singapore in Asia, and maybe, what is it, London, Berlin in
Yeah.
Europe. I guess Israel is really one of the top 5 hubs in the world when it comes to startups. Why do you think that's the case?
I think it has a lot to do with the Israeli culture of problem solving. Israelis like to think outside the box, like to break things, do not really comply to processes and very structural way of doing things. And also, unfortunately, I don't want to get too political. We can if you want, but every Jewish person in Israel is obligated to go through a military service,
Mm.
uh, and a lot of the tech training is done in the army as
Oh,
part
really?
of the military service.
Okay.
Yeah, so Israel has a very strong arm of a technological intelligence force, and a lot of young people are getting trained really fast, really quick, really deep on 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 high tech during the military service at the age
Okay.
of 18. And when they get out of the army, they have all this knowledge, they have all the networking in place to start and building companies. Um, and also, the Israeli army is very different than other armies in the world, where there's a lot of responsibility on a simple soldier. Meaning you are being trained in the army to take responsibility, and in some cases, part of your role is not to follow order. Meaning you need to question the orders that you get on a day-to-day basis. So
Hmm.
you need to think, you need to take responsibility, and that's the same characteristic that you need in order to build a
Hmm.
company. So a lot of the Israeli startup company, a lot of are around cyber security. That's basically the background of. I didn't serve in an intelligent unit, but most of the alumni of this intelligent units are opening startups in the cybersecurity space, and of course it proliferates to other areas as well.
Interesting. So that's what brought you to entrepreneurship as well, like technology and entrepreneurship, like this tech training, but also this focus on independence in the army. And then did you always know you want to become an entrepreneur? Did you always know you want to found a company?
My journey is not it's not the classic mainstream Israeli startup journey. I went through. I wasn't a computer geek when I grew up. Like as a teenager, I wasn't one of the kids, the geeks that like opening a computer and starting to program. That's wasn't really my character. I gotten into uh, high tech because it was easy. Meaning, after my military service, I wanted to go to college and like get a degree in law and accounting actually. But then I got a scholarship to learn computers. And I went to do like a 5 month course in a school here in Israel. and it everything like came naturally. Like it was so easy for me to program. It was so easy for me to kind of look at the world in a way that translate to programming,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that I just stayed. Like I like the fact that it gives it like computer programming and software engineering gives you so many tools in order to create stuff. So I
Mm-hmm.
never saw this aspect of computer. Like it's kind of like a carpenter or a builder. Like it gives you tools to build.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really, although I have a strong background in software engineering, I don't really like to sit and code. Like coding isn't my thing, but I like to create. I like to change the way people interact in their life. I like to give people tools to interact differently, better in their life. So that's kind of what got me into deeper into software companies. So I played a lot of roles in different companies in the Israeli high-tech scene. I started as a software engineer, then became a technical product manager, then a product manager, then a CTO. And my previous company was in a completely different space than Bitcoin. It was in the enterprise collaboration space, but also like giving tools to people, enabling people kind of to focus on their work, on what's important to them. And when it comes to Bitcoin, like I just fell in love with Bitcoin when I read Satoshi's white paper back in 2013. I always knew I'm gonna end up doing something in Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so what you ended up with was founding Breez, obviously, which was one of the early wallets in Bitcoin and Lightning. Were you Lightning from the start? No, it was first the Bitcoin on-chain wallet and then Lightning wallet, right?
It was Bitcoin. It was Lightning from the get-go.
Oh.
So what happened in end of 2017, early 2018, uh, uh, with the emergence of Lightning, it was really the inception of Lightning. Like the first main chain, main net transactions were executed on Lightning. I didn't like the narrative that was very popular at that time, which was that Bitcoin needs to be digital gold, and there's no need to use Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. And I saw Lightning. I see Bitcoin as peer-to-peer electronic cash, like the Satoshi's white paper. Peer-to-peer electronic cash, for me, that's Bitcoin. Like that's the power of Bitcoin, the ability to transfer value from point A to point B without intermediaries, without any third parties, without
Mm-hmm.
in an open, borderless, permissionless environment. That's Bitcoin. That's what Bitcoin is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And with the emergence of Lightning Network, I saw an opportunity finally after a lot of years. It was post the big block wars and so on. I saw an opportunity, like a tangible opportunity, bring Bitcoin to the masses and help Bitcoin do this transformation from a store of value to a medium of exchange. Uh, by the way, I think that Bitcoin, without Bitcoin being a medium of exchange, it won't be a good store of value.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, the utility of Bitcoin is the ability to transfer it, and as much as you transfer it, then it solidified the presence of Bitcoin in our life. It
Mm-hmm.
increases the Bitcoin utility, and the as the Bitcoin utility increases, then the value of Bitcoin itself as a store of value also increases. So for me, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
a cycle that feeds itself.
Mm-hmm.
So with Breez, what we sought out to do, it's not just me, it's another two other partners that friends actually. We've known each other for 15 years. So me, Akiba, and Roy, my partners, sought out to bring Bitcoin to the masses, but as a medium of exchange. So it was Lightning from the get-go.
One
And
of
we
the
tried.
first really user-facing Lightning wallets, right? There was not much. There was Breez. There was maybe was there a wallet of Satoshi already or something?
I'm not sure. There was Blue Wallet,
Right.
which was custodial, and there was Eclair,
Right.
like the first wallet from Async
Hmm.
before Phoenix. And we saw a gap basically. We saw that there's a challenge. Uh, for me, Bitcoin is a synonym to non-custodial. Like you can't do Bitcoin in a custodial fashion. If you do Bitcoin in a custodial fashion, that means that we're just, it's not much different than fiat. The
Yeah.
value proposition again is like the peer-to-peer money. If you do custodial Bitcoin, it's not peer-to-peer money, then why do we use Bitcoin at all? Like don't why don't we use fiat?
Exactly.
Uh,
It loses one of the big advantages, that you don't have a counterparty risk, right?
you always have when you buy stuff, you always have counterparty risk, but it's not about counterparty risk. It's about permissionless, open, border, all the
Mm.
characteristics of Bitcoin don't exist. Like if you want to do Bitcoin as a medium of exchange, you need to carry to the second layer the same properties of Bitcoin in the first chain.
Yeah.
If you lose a property, then it's not Bitcoin anymore.
Hmm.
And so we are focusing on doing non-custodial second layer, non-custodial Lightning. That was one of the pillars of Breez, and the second pillar was to do that in a very friendly user experience that non-tech savvy users could use.
Hmm.
So how do you converge the both to a simple offering that anyone can use? That was the mission of Breez when we started. So back then you had Blue Wallet that was easy to use but was custodial, or you add solutions like a simple Bitcoin wallet from Anton and Eclair from Async that were non-custodial but very complicated for the average user. And so what we've done in Breez, we try to make non-custodial Lightning very accessible to end
Yeah.
users, obfuscating all the implementation details of Lightning, kind of putting it behind the scenes, under the hood, to allow users to just send and receive Bitcoin in a non-custodial fashion. That was
Absolutely.
our goal. Yeah.
Hey everyone, this is Anna from Relai. I want to tell you about Relai Private. It's our exclusive service for private clients, family offices, and small and medium sized companies looking to buy or sell large amounts of Bitcoin. As a Relai Private client, you have a full team focusing on your needs. A dedicated account manager guides you every step of the way. You also get personalized 24/7 support and gain access to exclusive reports and industry insights created by Relai. If that sounds like something you or somebody you know should check out, click the link in the description or head over to relay.app/private.
Absolutely, that makes sense. And so, but now the company also evolved, right? So you have a long track record of the tech and product that you have developed, and to B2C, and also amazing user growth, obviously in B2C. And so you grew the company and you took more investment, but now the focus is starting to shift, or you get an additional aspects to the product, which obviously is very interesting for us, for example, for Relay, because you are going B2B, right? Can you explain what exactly, how this decision has come about? Was it a business decision, or was it like based on customer needs or the market? So how did this decision come about, and what are you envisioning the product to evolve towards B2B?
Yeah. So if you look closely at what we've done at Breez, I never called Breez a wallet, like from the start. Like for me, Breez is a vehicle to bring Lightning payments to the masses. And so what happened, the kind of the journey that we went through is to build an infrastructure for our app. We started with a user-facing app, allowing users, as like you say, growing the user base, working on an infrastructure that will facilitate non-custodial Lightning payments. And we've done that for some time, like doing non-custodial Lightning and packaging it in a way that the user experience is very simple and digestible takes time. And we've done a lot on the infrastructure layer of our solution. We took L&D, we've optimized L&D to run on the mobile devices, because bringing Lightning to the masses for me means mobile first approach. So we took L&D, we optimized L&D in terms of Neutrino. Breez under the hood right now is using Neutrino in order to synchronize with the chain. We've done that. We've invented this concept of an LSP. An LSP, a Lightning Service Provider, just like an ISP, that's the entity that magically connects you to the Lightning Network, exactly like an ISP connects you to the internet. So it took some time to develop the concept of an LSP. And we've done a bunch of other stuff, submarine swaps and reverse submarine swaps. So we focused a lot on the infrastructure layer of making non-custodial Lightning more accessible. But interestingly enough, that's not the only thing that we've done. We've also built interfaces, different interfaces or experiences that allow the users to interact with the Lightning peer-to-peer economy in various ways. So, for example, we didn't just release a wallet. We also added a point of sale interface to Breez that allowed everyone to become a merchant without the need for a bank account and to start accepting Lightning payments. And we've added a podcast player to Breez that allowed you to stream sats to content creators, to podcasters. And interestingly enough, every time we've improved something in our infrastructure layer, let's say supported on-the-fly channel creation or zero-conf channels, or did a lot of optimization, it didn't move the needle at all in terms of user adoptions and user acceptance. But every time we've added a new interface, a new experience to Breez, then we grew by 10x. So when we added the point of sale interface, our user base and the amount of transactions that the user executed on the Breez platform grew by 10x. And the same happened when we added the podcast player. And that led us to a very maybe trivial realization if you think about it in retrospect, but we kind of understood that applications and use cases are the key for Bitcoin adoption. It's not really about the infrastructure, it's not really about the tech, it's about the use cases. It's about how do we bring a peer-to-peer economy to the masses, and it has to do with building the peer-to-peer payments into day-to-day experiences, into concrete use cases. So I don't think there is a single front-end application that will change everything when it comes to Bitcoin adoption. And if you come to this realization, you understand, and we understood that what we need to do is to take the infrastructure that we've built and bring it to developers, to companies, to vendors, that they will embed the Lightning experience into their applications and into their into the use cases that they are trying to improve and solve. Breez isn't a Square, like we're not a point of sale company. Breez isn't Spotify, we're not a podcasting company. We're a Lightning infrastructure company. So what we need to do is to focus on Lightning infrastructure, but we have to give developers the power to embed Lightning payments into their own application in order to bring Bitcoin to the masses. So that's why in the past 8 months we've been working on the Breez SDK. The Breez SDK aims to bring Lightning payments, enable developers to embed Lightning payments in their solution in a very effortless way. We kind of simplifying and abstracting all the complexity. If you had to be an expert, and that's the situation right now. You need to be an expert in order to embed Lightning payments into your app. We hope that with the Breez SDK, everything will be completely streamlined. That you don't have to think about on how on the complexities of the Lightning environment. There's more that goes into building the SDK, but for me, you talked about B2C versus B2B. For me, it's B2C. We add a front-end application. By the way, we're not deprecating our front-end application. We're going to continue the B2C track. We're adding a B2B to C track, meaning we want to augment what we've done with the wallet, with the podcast player, with the point of sale interface, and not lock users to Breez interfaces, but to unleash the power of Lightning and having developers creating new experience that we as a company can't even imagine.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of other companies in other industries as well have done the same thing. Like they started B2C and then they've built something that other companies also wanted to use that maybe went for other use cases. And then that's how kind of through these multipliers, through these B2B to C, like APIs or whatever the connection was, they then like massively grew in users because obviously every company you add has its own community, and you don't add users one by one, but you add users X by X, right? Well, that's very interesting.
Exactly.
And then also
Exactly.
I think it's a big need, especially for companies like us, for example, that are very user facing. We have our own use case and we are on chain, and because of the fee, the development on chain, obviously at one point it will be absolutely necessary for us to go Lightning, and a lot of our users, a lot of our community is like since 2-3 years asking when Lightning. So at one point we definitely need to go Lightning. We want to go Lightning and we're on it, as you know. That also like there's definitely a market for it. That also comes with a lot of other competitors of yours, right? And so I feel like in the last year or so there were so many new LAS, so Lightning as a service providers popping up. Like there's Lightspark, for example, the big ones now under David Marcus in the US. Also River Financial, Alex, who we've also had on the podcast here, who just raised 35 million from big investors like Peter Thiel. But also you have CBD, you have Blockstream, you have all these Lightning as a service providers. How are you making your way through this market, or were you like the pioneer and these others came later, or do you still have a clear differentiator, or do you think there will be just many of them?
First, competition is great. It means that there's market validation to the solution that you're building. We're currently, I think, the only non-custodial Lightning as a service company. We pioneered Lightning SDK, non-custodial SDK. That's our thing. The fact that a company like Lightspark, for example, are even talking about a non-custodial SDK or adding non-custodial capabilities to their offering, that's because I think we have something to do with that, which is great. There's a couple of differentiators to what we are doing. One, we're doing only non-custodial Bitcoin. So unlike Strike, Zebedee, River, which by the way, I absolutely love Zebedee and absolutely love River, great services. And there's definitely room for the services that they provide. Breez provides a non-custodial interface, meaning there are advantages. I believe, like inherently, peer-to-peer economy is here to stay, and because peer-to-peer economy is not just about ideology. There is an ideology aspect to peer-to-peer, but it's really a differentiator of Bitcoin versus fiat. The true transformative value to the masses will come through peer-to-peer value proposition, meaning the ability to send payments to anywhere in the world without any regulatory restrictions, without any KYC restrictions, without AML constraints. That's value that can manifest only in a peer-to-peer interface. So that's why it's so important for us to push peer-to-peer payments and non-custodial payments and make it easy. From a technology, so I think that's one core differentiator between us and the others. Another core differentiator is the fact that the way that we think about Lightning in general and about the Lightning economy. We think about it as an open platform. The Breez SDK is open source code. It's an open source code that promotes freedom and decentralization. So you have various components. In order to build a non-custodial SDK, you have to have various components in order to provide an holistic solution to vendors. So you need to have end user nodes, and you need to have a LSP, Lightning Service Provider services embedded into the service. And you need to have swap services for on-chain interoperability. And you need to have fiat on-ramps in order to allow, and off-ramps in order to allow end users to kind of interact with a traditional fiat economy. And we are building an open platform for all of these components. So for end user nodes, currently we support Greenlight from Blockstream, but we will add LDK support. In the LSP part, we are working on an LSP standard and working with other companies like C equals from TBD and Synonym. So end users will be able to pick and choose the right LSP that fits their needs. Same goes for on-chain interoperability. And one of the discussions I had with Adam, your CTO, is to create a standard for fiat on-ramps and off-ramp, so users will be able to interact with fiat on-ramps and off-ramp in a more standard way. So creating and everything is open source. So it's an open development platform for non-custodial Lightning. We don't vendor lock you, and everything that we're doing in a standard way. That if you want to change to another provider, if you want to change to another service, you can, and that's the only way you can bring Bitcoin to the masses and keep the same value proposition of Bitcoin of being a truly open and decentralized infrastructure. Because if you start to do vendor locking, or if you're building something that is not open source, then we're going again back to the same traditional services that we have in the fiat economy.
Mm.
So what's the difference between Strike, for example, and a traditional bank? There's not a lot of difference. If you
Yeah, they're
take a look at
doing
that,
KYC. You're basically locked in their
you're like
system,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. So yeah, there are advantages of transactional Lightning is an open platform, but from the infrastructure itself, we have to promote the sense of decentralization and openness. So I think we target other use cases, and I think and I hope that we will be like the natural solution for everyone that wants to build a solution that kind of carries the same value proposition of Bitcoin.
Makes sense, and that's why we really love your solution, because it's really one of our big problems. Is since for years now is how can we onboard or upgrade to Lightning, right? And
Yep.
so how maybe in taking Relay as an example, how would this look like once you are live with your solution, which I believe is quite soon, right? You're already pilot and beta testing now. And I saw in Via Reggio, thanks again for the invite. I saw the presentation and the workshop. So everything looks really ready already. We already have the SDK for React Native where we are built into. So it should be within the next couple of months, right? Where this solution should be ready to implement. How would this look like in the end for a Relay user? Will we still have the Relay app with an on-chain wallet, but also a Lightning wallet, both non-custodial, both based on the same seed? And then people will be able to buy and sell and auto save directly into Lightning for small amounts and into on-chain for big amounts. Obviously, we would then take care of the fiat exchange, but users would really get everything they have now from Relay. They would also get in Lightning through Breez. So how would that be kind of the user journey, and how would that work in the background?
So our goal is for you to decide what the user journey would look like and would be, to give you the tools that you need in order to implement the user experience that you want. If we do it right, I hope that the concept of a wallet is gonna disappear, and it's just gonna be about payments. So the Breez SDK gives you, as a developer, an API to send a Lightning payment and to receive a Lightning payment. Now, take these building blocks and do with them whatever you want. Put it in the existing Relay app in order to facilitate Lightning payments. Put it in a music app in order to stream sats to musicians. Put it in a game in order to send the payments to the players. Put it in a social network to facilitate payments between TikTokers or whatever. Do with the power of the peer-to-peer economy and build whatever user experience that you want. You are right that what we're doing with the Breez SDK is very interoperable. Since we're using Greenlight as a solution for end user nodes, you will be able to use the same key in multiple applications and interact with the same node. So one of the issues that we have in Lightning right now is the fact that in order to work with Lightning, every application has its own node or its own user experience and its own balance. Basically, you need to top up Stacker News in order to interact with Stacker News. You need to top up Fountain in order to use Fountain as a podcasting app. You need to use Phoenix, and you need to use Wallet of Satoshi, and you need to use Breez with different balances. What we're doing, since the Breez SDK has an element of a hybrid approach where the node is running in the cloud and the keys are still running on the user device, we will have a solution where multiple apps can interact with the same node. So take Breez, for an example, we'll be able to spin off the podcast app to a separate app. We'll be able to spin off the point of sale solution to a separate app. And then if Relay, for example, implement the Breez SDK, the Relay app will be interoperable with the Breez applications, will be interoperable with the Blockstream applications, will be interoperable with, for example, Satimoto, which is an EV charging solution that allows you to charge electric cars with Lightning. So everything becomes very interoperable, and you're working against the same. It's not an account, but it's kind of like an account in the fiat economy.
So how are you, because we are already trying to do this for 2-3 years, we didn't manage because there were mainly three problems, which I believe you have solved. One is our users would need to run their own Lightning node, which is not user-friendly at all. That doesn't make sense. If we want to do it Lightning non-custodial, right? So the running of the node is one big problem. Then two, we would need to open up and close channels all the time because users are coming and going, they are buying, they are selling, and they opening up new wallets. So every user who would open up a wallet, we would need to create a channel, and we need to manage the channels. This is the second problem, and the third is the liquidity management. So we never know how we would need to. We now have 70,000 active users and more than 200,000 app downloads. So they are all individual users, and they buy more or less. So depending on that, we would need to put the according liquidity into the channels. So we have thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of channels, which we need to top up with money, which in the end, obviously, it's so much capital that would be bound or deployed. So because of these three reasons, we really never could do a next step in Lightning. So have you solved any or even all of them? And if yes, how?
That's the way. So the thing about Lightning is that it's a full reserve system. That's the way Lightning works. Basically, if you take a step back and look at the Lightning network from outside, you understand that the Lightning network is a liquidity network. People are putting liquidity in the network and expecting to get ROI as a result of putting liquidity. So the thing that you are describing as a problem, for me, are an opportunity. Because if Lightning Network is successful, then it means that we'll be able to capitalize on the Lightning Network and to generate ROI from the Lightning Network. Now, I understand why a company like Relay, and that's the case with all the design partners that we're working with, are not focusing on this issue, because that's not your core business. Your core business isn't necessarily now making money from the Lightning Network. It's about providing a service to your users. You want to use the Lightning Network as a tool, but it's not the mean for you to generate revenue. So let's break down and talk about the issues like one by one. You talked about running nodes. I agree with you 100%. I don't think telling your users to run a node is a viable option. Doing hardware stuff like Umbrel is doing is still very hard. There's a reason we call hardware, because it's hard. So I'm not sure it's a solution that can scale. So we need to, and there's another option where you can kind of use a hosted cloud environment from Voltage and manage the node yourself. But that requires IT skills. Not every user can do that. Most users can't. and it's a high barrier of entry to participate in the Lightning economy. So what our approach to user nodes is either run the user node on a cloud infrastructure that is still a non-custodial infrastructure because you retain your keys. You as a user, the only thing that you need to do is sign transactions, and you're the only entity that has access to the keys, to the node keys. So the cloud infrastructure can't really sign the transaction, and everything becomes an implementation details. Meaning you want to send the payment, you want to receive a payment. Initially, you start by receiving a payment. You just call an API, and the node is actually created on the fly behind the scenes when you initially receive a payment. That's the magic of the solution that we've built in the Breez SDK together with Greenlight. We will also enable users to run their nodes on their mobile devices. So if they don't want to use a cloud environment, they will be able to run the node on their mobile devices and use the mobile device as the host for the node. And everything, again, all the complexities is going to be abstracted away from end users and from developers. When it comes to creating, opening, closing channels, and providing liquidity to a lot of users, this is being taken care of by the LSP. So a part of the solution is end user nodes. By the way, you have more issues when it comes to Lightning and on-chain, but we'll talk about, you did spot on describe the two biggest issues. So user nodes is one problem, and I think I explained the solution. LSP is the solution for the second and third problem you've described. The LSP is the entity that creates, opens, and closes channels, because we need to close channels. And it's the entity that provides liquidity to end users. Now, you can ask why LSPs are willing to do that. Why LSPs are willing to open channels, close channels, allocate liquidity. Why? And the answer to that is that there's a financial incentive to do so. The Lightning Network itself is an incentive-based infrastructure, an incentive-based platform. And whenever you send a Lightning transaction, the nodes that are used in order to route the transactions from point A to point B are earning Lightning fees. So generating this revenue is the inherent business model that is embedded to Lightning. What LSPs are trying to do, LSPs are trying to capture traffic by providing a service to end users and hopefully capitalize on the transaction that their users are executing later on. So, for example, Breez currently is being used as an LSP for the Breez user. So we open channels for our end users. We take a fee. It's not free. We take a fee when we open channels, and the fees that we take are aimed to cover our cost, cover our customer acquisition cost. But that's not a sustainable revenue generation model. What is sustainable is the lifetime value of a customer. So what we hope to happen when we open a channel is that our users will execute Lightning transactions in our platform, and we take a small fee every time users are using our LSP in order to execute payments. And that's the model behind the LSP. The LSP, by the end of the day, aims to generate yield on the Bitcoin, the liquidity that they allocate in the Lightning Network, and finding the right users, focusing on heavy users that execute a lot of Lightning transactions, and optimizing liquidity allocation. That's going to be the the business model of LSPs.
And you, with the Breez SDK, you will let us, Relay, connect to a market of different LSPs, right? So it's not just one LSP, it's several that will compete basically for the traffic or for the volume of Relay.
Exactly. So as part of the LSP, so again, we see Lightning Network as a liquidity network. In that way of thinking, you can think about users as the entity that generates demand. They demand liquidity, and you can think about LSPs as the entity that provides the supply. And you can think about the Breez SDK as a marketplace for supply and demand. Demand comes from the user using the SDK. Supply comes from the LSPs that are integrated into the SDK. And we created an open LSP model where we can plug multiple LSPs to the Breez SDK and kind of matchmake between users and liquidity providers. And you as a user will operate in a free market that will hopefully improve the service that you get. I believe in a free market. I think free market is the only way to kind of drive innovation and drive better service to end users. So we hope that an open LSP model will do exactly that, like drive fees down, foster more competition, and provide more utility to users. The only thing that that I want to point out is that it definitely may be that the Lightning as a solution doesn't fit all your needs. Meaning, if you have one-off users that are using a Relay just to buy Bitcoin like once in a year, then maybe Lightning isn't the right solution for them because LSPs are not interested in one-off users. LSPs are interested to capitalize on users because they continue to use Lightning. But you need to keep in mind another thing, that the same user of Relay will be able to use different applications in order to communicate with Lightning. So you can build an ecosystem where they buy Bitcoin using Relay, and even we can embed Relay in the Breez SDK, and then they interact with Lightning in different applications, like in games, social networks, other payments apps, and then the LSP still capitalize on your users because they use the same channels, the same liquidity that they allocated to them in Relay, but it carries outside of the Relay app to other apps as well.
Exactly. So we would basically just onboard people to Lightning, and then from there on, there are Lightning users. They can do with their
Exactly.
do whatever they want in the Lightning ecosystem, right?
Exactly. But you can also transform your business. Like again, it's a question of a business focus. But if you want to own the user experience and you want to be the solution for your users also to send payments on top of Lightning, you can do that. So it's really depending on the mindset of the vendor.
Of course.
We have a lot of design partners that kind of the thing that bothers them is that they lose the user throughout the journey, meaning they have to redirect them to a Lightning wallet, and then they can't interact with the users because the user is interacting with Lightning using a different application. Using the Breez SDK, you can continue the interaction, you can own the user experience, not just at the onboarding phase, but also later down the journey.
Absolutely. Another thing that just came up in my mind was that, so how do you think about the interaction between on-chain and off-chain? So for example, one problem that our users have is that they stack maybe small amounts, let's say $10 a week, and on-chain A, the transaction fees are getting higher and higher, and B, they are amassing a lot of UTXOs. So if they want to transfer, maybe after half a year of stacking, they want to transfer out their
The fees
Bitcoin
are,
to maybe a hardware wallet, then that's expensive because they have like 25-ish UTXOs to spend, right? So we would like to have a solution where people can buy small amounts directly into Lightning for not amassing these UTXOs, and buying big amounts, maybe like a couple of K, they can still buy on-chain. So they have both in the Relay app, and then whenever they want to transfer out one big transaction, for example, it would go on-chain. If they want to transfer out a small transaction, it would go off-chain. So can you, and I think Phoenix Wallet has kind of figured that out, that you can, doesn't matter how much you have on the wallet, doesn't matter how much you send, you can either send it through Lightning or on-chain. Or, for example, you can also send from your Lightning wallet to an on-chain wallet, and it would just, change back and forth, right? I think you got the point.
yeah.
How do you think about that?
Yeah, that in the Breez wallet you can do that as well. Basically, again, it's a problem that you have to solve if you're coming to the Lightning payment domain. On-chain interoperability, the ability to send payments to the chain with Lightning and vice versa, it's an important capability that the SDK also offers. So what we allow you to do via the SDK is to receive a payment to a BTC address, and it's a swap, it's a submarine swap where the on-chain balance is converted to off-chain balance and vice versa. So we allow you to do a reverse submarine swap and to send an on-chain payment using your Lightning balance. Phoenix are solving that right now in a trust with a trust. So they're doing swaps, but the swaps are trusted. We're doing that in a trustless swaps, and there's another thing that is coming to Lightning, which is splicing. Which will be also integrated into our SDK, will allow you to reduce the size of the channel, meaning use some parts of so there's a splice in action where you can add you can increase your channel, you can increase your Lightning capacity, your off-chain capacity using an off-chain transaction, and there's a splice out where you can reduce the balance that you hold in Lightning and use that for on-chain payments. So you'll be able to do that with splicing. What we offer right now is submarine swaps to do on-chain to off-chain, and a reverse submarine swap to do off-chain to on-chain. So on-chain interoperability is going to be also one of the services, one of the important services the SDK provides.
Nice. That's really magical. Sounds great.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
else? What else have I missed? You said I missed some problems that I have.
No. So I think yeah. So we are talking about okay. So let's lay out all the issues. So key management is another issue. Like how do you, with non-custodial Lightning, users need to manage keys. They need to hold the keys. How do they do that? That's another part of the puzzle. End user nodes, we've discussed the issue with end user nodes. Where do you run it? How do you run it? How do you abstract the channel management from users? How do you back up your channel state? That's end user nodes issue. We talked about LSPs, liquidity allocation, opening and closing channels, routing payments through the network. We talked about on-chain interoperability, like how do you interact with the chain. I think one issue that we're providing right now is fiat on ramps, but I think the problem isn't completely solved because there's a lot of fiat on ramps, but we need to tailor the right solution to the right user at the right time. I think that's a problem that we also need to solve in a better way that we solve right now. Right now in the Breez SDK, we offer users to use MoonPay, but MoonPay is very expensive, and MoonPay isn't the right solution for for many use cases. So providing the right local solution at the right time for the right need, I think that's an issue that also needs to be resolved. But if you take a look at Lightning from a holistic standpoint, if you solve all these 5 issues, then you have a ready to go solution for the mass market.
That's awesome. And when do you think will that be ready for the masses in terms of like B2B, like other wallets, like ours? I know you have already a first 1 or 2 pilot cases, and obviously the solution will never be perfect. You know, it's
Exactly.
always
Yeah.
a continuous development, of course. But when do you think it will be ready for a solution like ours that has a couple of thousands or tens of thousands of users?
I think so. So I can publicly speak about 2 solutions that are gonna roll out to market. I think by the end of Q2, meaning I hopefully in June we'll see like the first solutions in the market already. One of them is the green wallet from Blockstream that is going to add Lightning capabilities using the Breez SDK. The second solution is Satimoto, the EV charging app that will allow you to do that using the Breez SDK. And we have other companies that I can't publicly talk about that are integrating the Breez SDK into their own solution. That's like we're also dependent on their roadmap. I think the Breez SDK is ready. It's still in beta, but it's ready for developers to take it to a spin and to see if the capabilities that we have there right now is ready for their needs. We already have LSP partnerships in place. So we're partnered with Liquid, LQWD, a public Canadian company that is going to be an LSP in the Breez SDK. Another company is C-Equal from TBD, and they have a lot of capital to deploy. So I think we're ready for tens of thousands of users. If you ask me if we're ready for millions of users, then I would hesitate. But I think we're ready to build. I think we're ready to deliver. And now the question becomes whether we fulfill all your requirements, whether everything is robust. I have a kind of a conservative approach to rolling out solutions to market, specifically in Bitcoin and Lightning. I want everything to work flawlessly, and it's hard to do with Lightning, but we need to raise the bar. Like we can't release a solution to market that is kind of working or clunky or creates friction. So I believe in gradual release, but I don't want to wait. Like I want to interact with the market as soon as we can and as often as we can. So if you guys are kind of sharing the same mindset and you don't mind like testing beta application with beta groups and see if it works, I think it's ready now.
All of it, all of these problems that we have discussed.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Yes.
Nice. I'm down. I think we should definitely move forward. Obviously, we also have a roadmap and other priorities, but we said that this year is going to be the year where we go into Lightning. So I think that's a really an amazing solution that will help us. Roy, thank you very much for your time. We already have a full hour. I also wanted to talk about a lot of other stuff, but I think we touched upon a lot of your visions and inspirations and how you see the world. You laid it out really nicely in one of your latest Medium blog posts, articles. It's called "We Need More Apps with Lightning, Not More Lightning Apps." And I think exactly your vision and also your story, how the journey, how Breez developed, is really is what you have talked about here. So, but I would definitely recommend all the listeners to have a read. It's a 6-minute read, and it's amazing. It's really fascinating, and it was so good that even Michael Saylor retweeted it. I saw, so it really went viral on Twitter. For good reason. It's really very good. Please all check it out. And then I also have a last question for you that I asked all of my guests. So you are into Bitcoin, obviously, as a savings technology, mainly as a medium of exchange payments, but also as a savings technology. You said this is both this is not independent. So then my question is, how much, like as a percentage of your total wealth, do you hold in Bitcoin?
All of my savings are in Bitcoin, actually. So I don't have any fiat saving. All my savings are in Bitcoin. I do earn fiat salary, and I do spend my fiat, but all of my savings are in Bitcoin. So I would say, and I don't own anything. I don't own a house. I don't own property. So I don't know how you define my situation in terms of like all of. I'm all in. I don't know.
Yeah, that
Like
makes a lot of sense. You're basically an essentialist, right? And you just have savings and you have liquid money that you
liquid.
need for a day to
That
day.
there is, and the day-to-day money is also kind of dependent on Bitcoin because I'm making my salary, not a lot of money, by the way. You know that as an entrepreneur running a company, building a company, people think that if you raise money, you take a high salary. That's really not the case. And you're dependent on the success of your company. And that's Bitcoin. Like I'm building a Bitcoin company. So also my day-to-day is influenced heavily by the success of Bitcoin. So yeah, I'm all in.
That's the way. That's the way to go. Thank you, thank you very much, Roy, for taking the time. This was really, really good. I learned so much, and I'm sure people will love it. Talk soon. We will definitely keep in touch for the next steps of integrations, and have a great rest of your day. Cheers, man.
Thank you so much, Julian. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you soon, probably in Prague.
Absolutely. See you in Prague. Bye bye.
Bye bye.